Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I'm just gonna start off by showing off some of the statistics of the city because this is where I concluded that I needed some more residential. So that's what I'm gonna build next. I at first was planning to do a bunch of commercial over here in this little area, but the city didn't demand too much commercial office stuff, and so I just decided to do some residential. And in the end, I'm also gonna be putting down some commercial, and it ends up keeping the same kind of number of empty jobs. So it's not really, it didn't solve any problems, but well, it kind of solved one problem of this area being very empty and me wanting to do a little bit of a city hall build because that's probably the title of this video. I'm gonna do a little city hall. In general, I find that um, city halls are tend to be in a pretty interesting spot in city centers, and they tend to be surrounded by some nice beautification stuff. So I thought I might try to do something of like that with the limited tools that we have in a game like this. So let's just see how it turns out. This is the fifth video in this city. I'm probably gonna do one more. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more where I'm gonna continue where I leave at the end of this video because at some point I was just recording for way too long and I decided that I needed to stop recording, and also um, yeah, I was kind of done with this area for then. I thought I just needed to take some time in between videos to get some new ideas. So as you can see, I'm starting off by flattening the land. Um, I'm not really doing that for any particular reason, but the main reason is that I like it when neighborhoods are fairly flat, and I think yeah, it makes the roads easier to build and make them look smooth. And since we're near the water, it also ends up giving you an opportunity to do something interesting with the height difference that you end up with. So I, yeah, I just flattened the land. I mean, it, yeah. Okay, here I'm just thinking of what kind of shape do I want to do. I knew I did want to do some kind of main road consisting of a couple of um, one-way roads. Um, I think I actually had some other plans in my mind, but I ended up doing like a not really a roundabout, but it's almost like a roundabout. And well, yeah, it's a pretty weird shape, I guess. Maybe it just looks a bit like a microphone when you look at it from this angle. And now I'm just um, looking through the rewards to see if there's a reward that I want to put down, and I end up going with the fountain that I downloaded. That's really just a park, but it's also in the rewards for some reason. And I think it looks kind of interesting with a little bit of a statue there. Makes kind of sense. Maybe that guy on the statue was like some kind of historical figure. I hope he wasn't somebody who did bad stuff and was praised for the wrong reasons, but I imagine he was just somebody. Well, he's holding a sword. Um, Maybe he was some kind of a protector of the city at some point. I don't know. Maybe he used to live in the castle that's in the park at the other side of the river. Uh, we can just make our own little stories here. So here I'm just looking for interesting ways to fill in this area, and I thought those flowers, um, yeah, they gave a pretty nice shape. and I think it looks kind of interesting. And so I filled in the empty bits with some flower gardens because I do think they mix in nice with those um, flower beds. And yeah, here I'm just looking at what am I gonna do with the roads for this neighborhood. And I knew I wanted to do those two upwards, and I thought maybe you could do a cross intersection there, but the diagonal bit was too short to allow a cross intersection. And now I'm just planning out the general shape of uh yeah, I guess it's sort of a big boulevard road. No, it's not really a boulevard road, but you'd see these roads in like big European cities sometimes, where you have a big major road with some decorations between the two lanes and some generally either big buildings or very old buildings. But yeah, I don't really have good props installed for old buildings. And I have been looking at those props and I've seen a whole bunch of different sets. And I think in my next city I'm gonna look to combine some different sets that are out there, because there's like a mountain theme pack which has a lot of very cute homes. There's also some um, small home packs from I can't remember the name, from some other guy. He also did some diagonal homes, which I'm also gonna use in the next region. And yeah, so I'm gonna just make a new plugins folder. I'm gonna just move this one to like a different disk, uh, just to have a backup, I guess, for if I ever want to come back to this city, or maybe somebody has some requests or something, wants to know something about the plugins I use. Um, but yeah, so I'm planning to make a new plugins folder, and I'm already looking at different mods that I could use that would make it look interesting. And the idea for the next region is to make a bit of a mountainous city. I just want to do something that doesn't look anything like classical SimCity. So I've never really done a region with spam mod, which is the Simpack agricultural add-on mod. Um, yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful, I guess. Simpack is I think he is a modder, but it might have just been yeah, I think it was a team of modders, and Pegasus was the modder. Well, it was used to be a different website. They had their own modding website, but something got corrupted in their database, so it ended up um, that a lot of the stuff that they had on there was either lost temporary or uh, permanently. So that's a yeah. I back in the days I never really used mods and stuff like that much, but it's kind of sad that due to something as stupid as a database error, so much hard work from these people got lost. But a lot of it is um, conserved on the Simtropolis website, and some of it, I guess, on SimCity 4 Devotion as well. I don't know precisely, but I'm gonna use a bunch of those mods. So I'm looking to use the agricultural add-on mod, because I think it would be interesting to have a region that's based more on farming industry. And uh, I kind of want to play around with the new types of farms that they give, and there's some road add-ons for that mod that let you build, yeah, different kinds of shapes and stuff. So yeah, I'm planning to do something like that, and I'm just looking around, seeing what's out there. Now, as you can see, I just zoned a bit and planned out the roads a bit. And when I'm planning out these roads, I didn't want to do anything super fancy like I did in the past couple of videos. I think the most fancy thing that I did there was that roundabout kind of looking microphone bit. And then I just continued from there, and I knew at some point I decided I wanted to do a pretty straight line towards the water, and then use some of the JPN slope walls, I guess you could call them. Uh, and I didn't know which of them I wanted to use, but I downloaded them and I thought I might as well just try them out. And I've uh, um, earlier this week I posted a screenshot on Reddit where I showed off some of those walls, and I think they have a good potential of looking very nice, but some of the textures seem a bit rough when you're up close. So I might have to, because I do know that there's a bunch of extra textures for that mod, so I'll probably look into that at some point. Yeah, so as you can see here, this is a pretty basic neighborhood, I think. But yeah, I didn't. You don't have to do fancy stuff every time you build a little bit of a neighborhood, because that's not what a city looks like in real life. There's a lot of very boring neighborhoods that are just a bunch of rectangles connecting to each other. So I think it's fine to sometimes just take the easy road for a little while. The interesting part of making a city like this look good, or well, the part of making it look interesting, comes from the little bits where you take a little bit of extra time and experiment a little bit. So here I'm looking at these walls and these stairs, and I don't quite understand how you're supposed to line these stairs up, because they just cut through the ground. Maybe the slope isn't steep enough. I'll have to do some more experimenting with these things, because and maybe look at some other people who use those things successfully to see what they did and what I'm doing wrong. Maybe there's a predefined amount of height that you need in order for it to look good. And now I'm just going over all the textures, see which looks a bit interesting. And there's some of those brick textures that just, I mean, I live in the Netherlands and we have a lot of roads with that kind of texture, but more darker bricks, I guess. But on a wall like that, I don't think. First of all, I think the direction would be the wrong way around. I don't know. Uh, if you like those textures, it's fine. I just thought this would look a bit better for now, so I decided to use the diagonal squares, and I think it ends up looking pretty okay. So first I just um, thought, well, I chose a fence because I kind of chose that fence type because there were two fences, but I chose this one because it would fit with the stairs. But in the end, I didn't use the stairs, so um, I could have used the other one as well. But I think this one looks kind of neighborly. Doesn't look. It looks like it would fit in a rural area. And now I'm testing to see if I can make these stairs look a bit normal. And I think I'm just doing something wrong, and I'll do some testing later. So I, I just laid out those walls there, and when looking at this area, I thought I want to do something that looks a bit like a swamp, kind of. It's not really a swamp because it's, well, maybe you could call this a swamp. It's a bit of yeah, very watery area. I guess you could call it a swamp, but it's maybe a bit too small for a typical swamp. But yeah, so I did that and then decided I wanted to double up on the um, the wall bits, and in order to take one height or one gradient and continue it along all the way, I use these three long bits of street. Um, yeah, here the streets dirt out a bit, so I had to redo some of them. Yeah, so when you place bits of streets next to each other, they continue the same gradient. Um, so if you have like a bit that's three long and you keep placing three long bits next to it, um, it just continues the same gradient, which can help you get some pretty yeah nice results. I think it looks like it would yeah it could look like that in real life. I think I don't know. And here I'm just starting to do some foliage. I thought I'd start with some random trees because every swamp has a bit of random trees. I didn't want to do too many trees because I think that this kind of area wouldn't be too suited for trees, and there would just be a couple of spots that would be extra suited for trees. Now I just added some rocks and some at some places I found that I added a bit too much, so I bulldozed some of them. Um, it's kind of hard to make uh, an area like this really look like a swamp because of how dense the foliage would be in a real swamp, as in the amount of reeds you'd need to have, and maybe I just don't have the right props. That might be the case. Um, yeah, it would be interesting to have some props that are just uh, a whole bunch of reeds, making you put or allowing you to put down just a whole field of reeds without with them covering the ground underneath. But I guess that might be too many props or too many entities. Uh, I don't know. But in order for, yeah, in the end, I do think this looks kind of interesting with the little lily pads. And here I saw this mossy kind of plant, and this is the first time I noticed that if you just put a whole bunch of it down, you actually get a pretty nice green effect in the general area. So I thought let's do some of that and have some algae kind of mossy kind of seaweed kind of stuff around the shore. And maybe I could have used that inland as well to have a bit more of to have some greener areas among the whole sandy beach kind of texture. But I didn't do that. Sometimes you don't have the ideas. And I think doing stuff like this, you don't have to be perfect at this the first time. I don't think this is anywhere near a perfect beach development. And just trying different things out, trying different techniques, and looking for different combinations. And well, by doing stuff like this, you notice, wait, I might need some more mods for this and that. And here I place a nice little broken rowboat, and there's gonna be a fisherman over here, but not that guy. He's facing the wrong direction. He's kind of facing the right direction, but I wanted to delete the other guy, so I had to delete them both. And then I figured out if you just click the same one a couple times, he starts rotating and stuff. So this is gonna be the last phase of me putting plants down, I believe. And I decided to use these kind of thick plants. They look very brown now, but in the summer they end up being quite green. And I kind of wanted to hide that sharp line of the the wall kind of thing, and to also fill up some of the gaps in between the plants that I already placed down around the swamp kind of area. So yeah, I just followed the line a bit and I thought There's some empty pits over there, so let's put something there. And for now, this is just what it's gonna be. Well, it's what that little area is gonna be. I think I'm gonna be looking at that area a whole bunch and thinking, what could I have done different or better? And I think that's the key in playing a game like this. You just try stuff out and you figure out things that you have to start doing different or want to start doing different because you don't have to do anything. And here I'm just placing some what do you call those things? I can't figure out the word. Some services, I guess. And this is how a bunch of the stuff grew. Now, there's that one road with the no connection thing. I think it has to do with the type of intersections that I used there. Because I used the one-way road when you click it on an intersection with a bunch of normal roads. It adds these turn lane extensions, but yeah, over there it kind of derped out initially, and now I removed that. And as you can see here, now the houses did grow, so they did have a road connection, but they're complaining about commute time and stuff. I don't quite understand why they're always complaining about that stuff. And this is just some shots of the general area. So it was a bit of a short build this time. I kinda like doing a little bit of a shorter build, a little bit of a simpler build, because you have to have some short simple builds with nice results. I think that whole bit of microphone looking area was pretty nice and pretty good. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'd like to see you again. Goodbye.